I'm going to talk about our field technology to develop the solution to intervene from the genome to metabolic, to come to the solutions to intervene the long-COVID symptoms. I'll just show you the way we're doing that. So, as we know, that based on the US CDC, 1 of every 5 adults will have these symptoms that might relate to the previous COVID infection, such as from the head all the way to the toe. You can see that could be counted hundreds of the symptoms. It's complicated. People still try to understand what's going on. So at this time, I'm sure there's so many publications out there, and we did as well. We just use this opportunity to develop a solution to see if we could understand what's going on, can we intervene, and then use the molecular testing and monitor before and after the change of the index. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So based on this, we developed this technology we call the CR2 called check repair recognize program. We designed to use the combination of the biomarkers, genetic biomarkers, metabolic biomarkers, and combine together and test. We use an algorithm, use an artificial algorithm, to test to really to the machine learning, and then we gave them a specific formulated nutraceuticals before and after their symptoms. And I look at the index and say what's the change and why it changed. And we use this one, we want to try to find a unique solution if we could. And we have a limited clinical study numbers. We want to use this technology to see if we could apply this technology to a large population so we can get a much better data and use this technology to benefit a lot of people who are suffering from long COVID. Right? So basically, that's the diagram we try to do. We use the long COVID volunteers, and we developed a very unique sampling to just use the fingerprint, use the blood. Then we do the genetic testing and the metabolic testing. We use our specific formulated nutraceuticals. Then we do the algorithm, do machine learning, and use different biomarkers as a variables. Which variables what's the best way we can generate the index we call the cellular health index. Yeah. So we use the index, we come up with a personalized nutraceuticals and a personalized lifestyle change. How we can change their long-COVID symptoms. And at a certain time, we go back and then we can do a longitudinal monitoring to see if this intervention does give you change in terms of your symptom improvement as well as your index change. Right? So that's what we call the CR2 program that we pioneered in Hong Kong, and see what the results we got. So I think that this is very clear and come to a design. And based on a lot of literature search, and we've finalized that we started, there's so many things we can get started, right? Our specialty, we developed this theory, we call the pathway omics technology. And we use a biological pathway in the cells and to elucidate what's going on, what's happening in the cells. We use 3 different pathways, gene regulation pathways, metabolic pathways, cellular transduction pathways, as a whole, to study what's going on in the cell. Yeah. So now we find out after a lot of literature research, we find that 1 carbon metabolism has a lot to do with the COVID, with the infection, with the long COVID. Let's just start from the 1 carbon metabolism. So we choose 5 different genes, VDR, and COMT, and MTHFR, and GST T1 and GST-N1. 5 genes mainly in the 1 carbon metabolism as a genetics. Then we choose the metabolites. We use the VD, VD2, VD3, 24, 25 hydroxy VD. Then we look at the glutathione, reduced glutathione and the oxidized glutathione. And then we use the ratio, right? Oxidized versus reduced. We use that as the sedative index. Yeah. Then we also look at their leukocyte telomere length and look at the telomere length before and after the intervention. Then we develop method. We have this database, right? We have a health people database of over 1,000 database. We compare the same age of people. If you get the COVID or if you have the non-COVID, compare the same age, see what's your variation of your telomere length, leukocyte telomere length, which related to your immunity. Right? So this is our design, and we find out the different interactions of those biomarkers and we elucidate. Then we have developed the testing methods and developed the algorithm, and also we come up with a cellular health index. Remember this word we can use a lot. We call it CHI. Then we use the specific nutraceuticals to before and after. Then use machine learning to modify, to optimize this biomarkers as a variables. Yeah, to really get this CHI maximized and use that to predict your non-COVID symptoms. Of course, we record non-COVID symptoms before and after. So this is our specific CR2 program design, theoretically, right? Then we use that one to do the workflow. Right? This is our lab in Science Park, Hong Kong. So we have a very specific questionnaire, over hundreds of those questionnaires we wanted to study. Personal details, that's what was called the PCH, we call it post-COVID healer. That's our product, I'll talk about later, right? So we use a whole questionnaire before and after, really look into how you change, how you feel along COVID, right? When you get infected or including Dr. Wang mentioned how many doses you got and what is the vaccine you get, is it Pfizer's or is someone else. We record every detail of the person. So then we went through the DNA analysis. That's our lab. Then we also did a small molecule analysis, use a mass spec, use a qPCR for the DNA analysis. Then we use we have a group to develop algorithm. And also we use artificial machine learning. I will show you how to do it. Then we come up to CHI. Then with the CHI, we have the personalized nutraceuticals. I will show you what they are. Basically, that's the liposomal glutathione, minerals such as the vitamin C and the zinc and the selenium and the vitamin 2 based on the pathologics that we invented the third. It worked pretty well, right? So we use this one, use different CHI to guide your intervention. You have a higher dose, you have more of the supplements. So we use that as the trial to see that if that works, right? So this is our workflow. See what we got here. So algorithm is so important because we get so much data. Without algorithm or AI, we are not able to elucidate what's going on. So we have a group. We developed a very sophisticated algorithm with machine learning. And this is a diagram, right, of the machine learning and algorithm schematic diagram. And we look into the CHI as this formula. Then with machine learning, as I mentioned, to learn which weight of the variables, we calculate 10 biomarkers that we consolidate into 9 biomarkers. We use a different weight, and then we come up with 350,000 combinations. Which one's the best, right? That's a very powerful machine learning. Then we got this ratio of each biomarker ratio. With this biomarker ratio, we have this combination, we get the best, we call the AUROC, which is area under operating characteristic curve. We use this one as a guidance, right? The higher the value, the better your combination is. The machine learning go crazy. So we got the best, we believe, at this time of this combination by machine learning and get this algorithm to work. So this is a very, very sophisticated, we believe. And we want to use technology to see we can apply this to a large population. All right, see what we got. So first of all, we find out the new activity associated edits of 5 select genes, even as marginal one is positive correlated with the CHI changes. That means participants with more genetic variants, they benefit from a CL2 program intervention. P-value is 0.06, not 0.1, but we don't have enough people. But the direction we believe is correct, right? So you can see the more variants you have in one carbon metabolism genes, most likely you will get probably will get a more severe long-COVID, or you'll get a much better improvement after our treatment. Then we also find out, if you look at the COMT, which is a hormonal methyltransference, right, which is most related to your mental. Right? So the high risk of anxiety caused by the AG and AA genotype of COMT RS4680 were associated with a lower vitamin D level. Right? That means if you live, those two are well recorded, that levels related to anxiety could be caused by your genetics, or could be caused by your long-COVID symptoms, or by the COVID infections. And we'll find out some correlations. Right? This is from genotype findings. Then we look into the genetics. After genetics, we look at the metabolics. We look at metabolics, we find out the lower VT level were associated with a higher symptoms of severity, even though the p-value is 0.03, 0.9, but we can see the correlations right there. Yeah? And also the average level of VT was negatively correlated with oxidative stress. That means higher VT levels could reduce cellular oxidative stress, which is also coincident, match up with some publications as well from our findings. Then we look at the tenderness. We find out, following our program and supplementation, participants have a marginal increase in leukocyte tenderness, p-value 0.09. Even so marginal, we believe that training is correct. We use this supplement to protect the damage of the leukocyte tenderness. I think that's data system. Yeah. Even though our data is limited, but I think that the direction is right, because we saw so many publications see the same thing. So that's the data proved that our testing technology and the supplementation worked, even though we only supplement in 2 weeks because we want to see the results quickly. But there was something we can improve. I will show you. Yeah. So that's a very good data I like to show you. How about the correlation with the CHI? So we find out, we group people into 4 different groups, and then we find out the before and after treatment. What's the change of the CHI? And then we find out participants with a lower CHI had a better response to treatment. So because we have machine learning, right? So I think this label is pretty scientifically sound. The lower the CHI, the lower your cellular antioxidant stress capability, or your lower your immunity systems in a way, right? So the lower the value, you have a better response for the treatment based on this statistical analysis. Or we also find that the lower level of glutathione in your cells will have a better response for treatment because they treat you with glutathione liposomal. So that has much better responses if you lower your beginning your level is lower. So that coincidence line up with your CHI change before after the intervention. Yeah. Then if you look at it further, remember we used the machine learning to find out what's the best combination of this weight of these biomarkers in different composition or different percentage. Right? If one is 0.1, one is 0.3, if the total is 100%, which one's better? So we use the machine learning to learn. We get this AURC curve, looks like that. We get the higher the value is, the more machine learning is much better weight of the different biomarkers. And we got that, looks pretty good, 0.8. Then we find out the positive association with CHI changes with the symptom improvement because everybody has detailed chain fill up the symptom improvement, it's a lot of improvement. Then we did a statistical study, we also find out this is quite significant. Even though the p-value is 0.04, or you consider before-after change, that does say, especially with the more symptoms, non-COVID symptoms change, correlation with the CHI change. Yeah. So that's the data I would like to share with you. Even though it's initial, we need a large database to do it. But the direction we want to show you is an example that works. So finally, the result, the conclusion or take-home messages show that CL2 program is safe and effective. Only 2 weeks, you can see the change. Can quickly repair some of the damages. And then we look at the CHI, Cellular Health Index. For the non-COVID symptoms and restore health, we can see restore the health of the patients. So improvement of patients' symptoms, 63% improved because it's detailed of the questionnaire, right? Compared to significant positively correlate with the CHI, which is 66%. All the person relate to our test with their exact feel, how they feel after the intervention is 95% match. If you feel better, the data looks better. Yeah, so 95% match with a small population. And then we'll also find out the older the person, the greater degree of improvement in CHI. The older is, the better improvement. And also, the smaller the CHI to begin with, the greater degree of improvement in symptoms, which is also what we want. So, in the future, we like to optimize the CHI by a larger population. The machine learning will be applied, and then for much better intervention and management of long-COVID symptoms patients. Then we like to get a large group, including use more controls, and symptom improvement should be at the clinical sets. Right? We should get more doctors involved and really check if there's a feedback from the patients are real, or at least from the clinical settings that are more meaningful. Right? That's what we need to improve. So especially for the supplemental dosages, will be more personalized based on the CHI. That's what we plan to do. Yeah. So finally, who we are, what we do. So basically, we're a biotech company located in the Science Park in Hong Kong. We started doing this, as I mentioned at the beginning, we invented this pathway omics technology we call the BPO. And we use that to develop and deliver innovative solutions to prevent diseases and extend the health lifespan. So our vision is to transform bioscience into personalized solutions that meet people's needs for health and longevity and has lasting marketing value. How do we do that to achieve the vision? We want to use 3 things like genotype, phenotype testing, AI algorithms, and then specific formulation nutraceuticals products to empower doctors to do precision medicine and help customers to maintain optimal health. That's what we are. What we do. Thank you. I'd like to
some questions.
Congratulations.
So for a product to be personalized medicine, my question is, your conclusion is if you have lower CHI to start with, but this is relative in a small cohort,
Yes.
relative small or large. To make it personalized, you need a cutting point. So you have to say, if you meet these kind of criteria, your value is at this particular value, and your chances benefiting from the program. I think that is probably something. I understand that from a small sample size, it's very hard to get a cover point, but I'm just want to suggest that in the future, but that kind of value you probably provide, I really useful way?
Very good question. So actually, we thought about it. In order to enlarge the large population, it's not really practical to specifically personalize. So we generate 7 formulas. If the CHI at this level, we give the formula 1. CHI at this level, formula 2, formula 3, formula 8, formula 7, right? So for all those formulas, that's what we call the personalized, if you will. But it's not necessary for individual personalized. We could, but we cannot afford so much, right? We have to look into the large population. So what I'm saying, the personalized, actually we have different levels, at least 7 or 8 different formulas that are based on CHI. We give them different iteration, much faster. So they gave us one job block. We gave them the package of the THC. That's our plan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Exceptional technology. Extraordinary health. Govita Tech Limited.